Don Takano, he's the next guy and he's hilarious. Give it up for him. Oh, and Ian's videographer. Good job.
Woo!
Good job. All right, Don.
Thank you everyone. My father passed away when I was 7 years old. And sometime after he died, I went in his room and I went in his closet and I found a magazine. It was an adult magazine. And as a boy, every day, secretly I would look at this magazine featuring, you know, depictions of naked people in a sexual manner. And so I brought that magazine with me. And I have the magazine right here. Now, this magazine taught me so much about intimacy, about human relationships, and about procreation. Los Angeles Kings won the Stanley Cup this week. People were excited. I was at a bar on Monday night when the Kings won, and there was this really drunken Mexican guy who was being totally obnoxious. He was like, "Yeah, the Kings, go Kings, they won, vato!" He was like yelling it, like inches away from my face. I didn't respond. I don't really follow hockey that much, and I didn't really respond. So he looks at me and he's like, "Hey man, what's your problem, man? Who are you a fan of? Who are you a fan of?" He kept asking me that. I almost told him immigration. But I didn't. Because I'm not racist on the outside. I'm racist on the inside. And on Twitter. I wrote that on Twitter. Hey, single fellas, I got great news. The internet has now been voted the #1 place to meet women. Social networking sites, dating sites, message forums. The internet is the best place to meet women compared to what was voted the worst place to meet women, which is AutoZone. I was watching, I was at a bar recently and I was watching, they usually play ESPN. ESPN was playing a darts tournament. Have you ever seen a darts tournament, like a professional darts tournament? Oh my God, the dart contestants on the tournament are the creepiest guys. Like guys in their 50s are overweight, they look so creepy. These guys look like a cross between a registered sex offender and my 9th grade science teacher, who is also a registered sex offender. How it goes. I watched that movie Triumph of the Will the other night. Have you ever seen Triumph of the Will? You have.
Yeah.
If you haven't, you know it's an Adolf Hitler film. It's a propaganda film with Adolf Hitler in it. Say what you will about Adolf Hitler. We all know that Adolf Hitler, the person, is a terrible person. But Adolf Hitler, the actor, is a pretty remarkable actor. I mean, he nailed all of his lines to a T. He gave a speech that was like an hour and a half long, didn't miss a cue. He's a pretty amazing actor. It just sucks that he did the whole Nazi thing. One time I saw my dad in the shower when I was a kid. I'm sure you've all had that moment where you've seen your dad in the shower. Here's what happened. I was taking a shower, and then my dad came to the bathroom, took his clothes off, and got in the shower with me. I'm like, "Dad, what are you doing? Wait your turn." I turned 31 recently, and I was considering adoption because, you know, like I said, I'm never going to have kids, but I might want to adopt. So I went to an adoption agency. I spoke to a lady who was an adoption agent. I was sitting at her desk, we were talking. There was a small framed photograph of a child, cutest little boy I've ever seen in my life. I take this photograph and I'm looking at it and I was like, "Wow, this kid is so cute. Is he up for adoption?" And she got really mad and she's like, "No, that's my son." I was like, "Oh. Okay, is he up for adoption?" He was not up for adoption. I like my women like I like my coffee, ground up and in a can. I don't really use that joke anymore. Zapow. Zip-a-da-ba-bow, Saturday night. What's the difference between McDonald's and rat cum? Ratcom is not an official sponsor of the 2012 Summer Olympic Games. That is the only difference between McDonald's and Ratcom. Thank you. Everyone always talks about how great of a host Billy Crystal is. Everybody's like, yeah, Billy Crystal, he's such a great host. You know who else thinks Billy Crystal's a great host? A tapeworm. Tapeworm. There's a reason why they're called dreadlocks. Because I dread having to look at people who have them. I don't like dreadlock people. I went to an antique store in LA recently, and I purchased an antique mirror. I didn't realize in LA they sell two types of antique mirrors. They sell mirrors that Phil Spector did cocaine off of, and mirrors that Phil Spector did not do cocaine off of. I purchased a mirror that Phil Spector did cocaine off of. I took it home, cleaned it up, kind of upholstered it, and a handgun fell out of it. Phil Spector loves guns. But the handgun fell out of it. I'm going to end my set with this. When I turned 18 years old, I was really excited because I could finally purchase cigarettes. I didn't have to, like, you know, I can still purchase. I was purchasing cigarettes since I was 13, but I could do it legally. I could go anywhere and purchase cigarettes. So I went to the convenience store, and who was working behind the counter was former boxer Jake LaMotta. If you've ever seen Raging Bull. So I asked him for a pack of Marlboro Reds, and he looked at me and he went, "Are you 18? Can you prove that you're 18? And then we made out. If you've ever seen Raging Bull, that was in Raging. That was the scene in Raging Bull. It's like, "Are you 18? Can you prove that you're 18?" And he was making out. Good night.